involved in anything fitness related. I did not know how to begin. So I just kind of did what I could do at that time. So I started with the goal of losing weight. I started with at home fitness videos, and then that went on to getting a gym membership, joining every type of class you could think of. I discovered that I absolutely loved anything fitness related, and then I became a coach later on in my journey. So it has been a it has been a unbelievable and amazing experience thus far.
Okay.
Okay, you're the
Yes, I
interviewer, so
stepped away. So this is gonna be fun when we go back and look at this. So the beginning of the video, I think I was trying to get it horizontal so you could get the full screen, but I guess you have to set it up beforehand. So I'm not sure if you guys captured the beginning, but it's definitely working. So we're good to go. So let's see, and what do we have on hand? Production. See, there you go. All right, so we're gonna look at the list that I had. Oh, Jesus. Jesus. So definitely, this is super raw. And so let's see. Let's see. So early on, you just explained kind of like how you started. So in the beginning, what was the most challenging thing? I'm assuming you're working a full-time job. I don't know if you go back when you started, where was your like work life environment as far as like the time that you had? Your daughters were obviously younger.
we're going all the way back to the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start like people that the thing about it with fitness, and many people that have met myself, you, friends of mine like Junior and Miriam. When you look at many of the things that we're currently doing, many people can assume that that's where we always started, that we always did that kind of stuff. But the reality is that we start somewhere, and along the way, and that's where most people will relate, is that most people have either full-time job or they have a smaller child. So all those are challenges. I guess that's what I kind of like what I wanted to get from you and hear from you.
Okay,
Like
I
when you started, like you what did you get a membership or how did you start a fitness? I know you
well,
talked about some videos, but like along the beginning, what was like the challenge or what was like how did what did it look like for you to like to get in your fitness journey basically?
okay. So it's a lot, and it's been like I said about 15 years. So I don't want to go into like every single detail, but I'll go into the ones that I think are the most important. So, starting, yes, my daughters were very young. They were both in elementary school. And I also had a full time job. I was working graveyard, actually. That's probably how I put on so much weight because I I know now, but I didn't know then. I was tired. I was exhausted, thinking that I needed energy through food, and that's what I was doing to keep me up. And definitely, played a role in me gaining so much weight. And now that I know, sleep is very important, especially when you're trying to lose weight. It affects your body. That type of stress affects your body so much. So the challenges that I faced were, yeah, having two young girls, wanting to be there for everything that they had going on, like their sports. They're, in elementary school, there's like a lot going on, right? They have like plays and there's after school things. And then, like I said, I worked graveyard. So I would work from 10 at night to 6 in the morning. And then I would sleep for a few hours, pick up my daughters, and then I would do an at home video. And I had to be there for them. So that's the only thing that I could really do. And that's how I got started. And then we started to go on walks together after I started to get into the groove of moving my body. You get endorphins and you feel like, oh, I can do a little bit more today. So I started taking them on walks, and we would just go on very long walks because at that time I was pretty overweight. I was about 215 pounds, maybe, and never running in my life. That seemed like out of the question. So I thought I'll just go for a very long walk, and that's how we started.
215. So
Mhm.
where are you at right now? What's your current weight? I know it fluctuates, but but what's your average weight for the, like, let's say for the past couple years?
My average weight is about 135.
135. So if you do the math, what is that, like 70, 80? That's like 80 pounds, right?
Mhm.
That's almost like a whole person, and
Yes.
that's incredible to believe like that. And I think that's what's important again. What I was sharing with Victoria, why doing these videos is that many times, we look at athletes, and we look at, oh yeah, like in the running space, we see like, oh, he was a track star, he run cross country in college. So you give yourself the kind of like those excuses because you're saying genetically and they were physically and fitness gifted. We kind of take ourselves out of the possibility of even doing anything that they're doing, right? But I think when you talk to people that are like, not even average, but people that are like maybe found themselves where you are right now today, or maybe you already had a like successful journey to this point, but things happen in life. And I know a lot of people. I know myself. I gain some weight and I lose some weight, and it's like an up and down. But I think it's important for people to. It's not like poking fun at it. And I know we're joking about it, like she said, I'm making fun of it, but no, that's very that's like really unbelievable, honestly. Like I met her like this, so I didn't know her before, so I'm kind of like in the same, um, I guess in the same as anyone else that just met her. Like you think she was always that way,
Mhm.
but anyways, I want to emphasize that 80 pounds, that's a lot. But I mean, I think if I would have talked to you at that time and I would have said, Victoria, how much weight do you want to lose? What would have been your answer? And would you believe like that it was possible?
Okay, so no, definitely not. In the beginning, it almost seems like I don't know. I don't want to say useless, but you're looking at yourself at that time. I'm looking at myself at that time and I'm just like I don't even know where to start. I don't know where this is going to go. I just want to see what I can do. So, my first goals started out with like pant sizes. Like I was a size 16 and I wanted to just be a size 12. I thought that that would make me happy.
What's your current size?
And um
I don't know about women's pant size.
I mean, it varies, but I'm definitely far away from there now. And that's not where my focus is anymore. But those were just where my goals were at that time was just to get down in a pant size or two. And I started, like I said, I started working out. I started moving my body, and honestly, any change is good change and it's effective. So I started to see results right away. And once I got down to the size that I thought I wanted to be, I was wanting more, and I saw that my goals weren't big enough. And then they also started to roll over into pounds. So for me, the goals that I had were like getting under like the 10-pound mark. So like, like I said, I was like at 215 and then getting under 200 pounds and then getting under 190 and then 180. And I think when I got under like 160, I had I cried. Like I was like, I can't believe that
You made
I've
it.
made it this far. And I've definitely gotten further than that, but I my goals were just kind of like that, and then I will never forget one time I actually tried on my high school prom dress. This was like maybe 7 years ago or something, and I remember just sitting in that dress and like sitting on my bed and crying because I just could not believe what I had achieved.
So when we started the interview, I said that we had some notes. I'm not even gonna bother with that because I think we're just gonna do it naturally as I hear her sharing her story. And mind you, she is my girlfriend, so like a lot of the stuff, you talk about a lot of things as you get to know somebody else, but a lot of the stuff is kind of like you meet a new person, and she also didn't, meet me. And then like today is not about me at all. So some of you will know my story, but same thing. If I start talking, we'll be here all night. So, but I think it's better if you just, it's more like a conversation of getting to know for you guys. Like, as I learn some more stuff from her, you guys get to learn it. So, um, I know you're talking about like your goals, but was there any health goals related? Like, I know, for, I think even men too, man, nobody wants to look all fucked up, man. Oh, like self-conscious about yourself, hiding your long hairs. I think no matter man and woman, we all want to look good, right? Or whatever it makes you feel confident. So besides those obvious kind of things that you might have had, was there any goals related to your kids as a mom? I don't know what you wanted to show them. Were there any health stuff that you noticed, like any health issues that you had at the time, or was it? I mean, it can't just be I want to look a certain way. What was other motivations for you? And
Well,
and it could be that I don't know.
yeah, at that time, that was the main goal, was wanting to be smaller. All like ultimately, like I think anybody that's overweight, I mean, and another thing that I want to emphasize is like once you go through something like that, you never forget it. So even though I am where I'm at now, I can always go back and remember every piece and every moment. Like every stage. I can remember every stage, and those feelings, they don't go away. And so sometimes I remember it when I see people that remind me of me at certain points in my journey. But yeah, I can say, and I think that a lot of people can relate, is when you're that heavy, you just want to be smaller. Like you're just, you're uncomfortable in your body and you just want, that's the main goal. And then it does change and evolve your mind once you start seeing what your capabilities are. You start looking at things in the bigger picture, like your overall health and movement and longevity. And definitely, I I realized really quickly that my kids, they started to see that as something normal, like fitness as something normal. And to me, that was very important because I was never around that as a child. That's why I am where I am, I think, as a coach, because I didn't have any direction. I figured out everything on my own. There wasn't even Instagram when I started. So, like, or it wasn't that big. So I kind of just tried things. It didn't work. I tried something else. I loved it. I added that to my routine and so on. So I definitely think that's what brought me to where I'm at now, is all of the trial and error and the experiences of figuring it out as I went.
Well, right now you mentioned as a coach. Well, so you were not always a coach, right?
No.
So, how many years has it been since you started having a class? I know, sharing with me, I know that COVID, for many people, that was a game changer. People started looking at different things and finding a way to get our fitness. I know even at that time, I used to kind of say when some virtual races started popping out, I was like, that's stupid, like, but at that time, and then I started doing my own because it did give some people something to get together with a few friends that were willing to risk their lives to hang out with other people, and they were doing virtual runs. So COVID did bring a lot of negative, but a lot of positives, a lot of opportunities. So I think maybe share with them how long have you been a coach, and from the beginning, whether it was from your home, from a gym, where was the first class, when, and
Okay.
how?
Okay. So, like I said, I fell in love with fitness. Like I even became, I would say I became obsessive about it. I still am. And I tried everything that you can think of, every type of class. And anytime I had a coach, I really just tried to pick their brain. Like anybody that would offer me some new like advice or just like some tips, I was always just like a sponge soaking it up. And trying all of these classes, I took a lot of things from them. Like I loved certain aspects of them, and then there were things that I didn't really like. And also some of the coaches that made an impact on me were the ones that were really, I think, all in, like not just there for financial gain, but really trying to be purposeful and helping others. So that's what I know now affected me as a coach to be how I am today. But I started coaching about during COVID, so about 5, 6 years ago. And I had no intention ever on being a coach. So, like, my best friend, going back to the beginning, my best friend has always kind of followed along on my journey. Like, she's always been there next to me, you
Shout
know.
out to the best friend.
Yeah. And her name is Areli, if you don't know. And so every summer before COVID, I would always take my workouts outside. Like, we'd go to the track and I'd invite her, and I'm like, she was always the only person really down for what I wanted to do.
So she was like your guinea pig.
No, I wouldn't say that. She was just, definitely just up for the
She was the only one
challenge.
down for that.
Yeah, because she knows, like, I was not there to play around, and she would take it just as serious as I did. So we would always go to the tracks and do track work, do like full body stuff. I had my own home equipment, so I would bring it with me in my wagon. And yeah, during COVID, I did not, I don't know, it just didn't cross my mind to stop doing what I do. The gym's closed, so I was working out at home. And then I started working out, and, I started going back to the track more regularly. And she came and she would ask if she could invite so and so and so and so. And honestly, it was just like word of mouth. Like, somebody would come and then they would ask if they could bring a friend because they saw us working out and they wanted to join. And then I forced my daughters to work out at that time too. They were young enough for me to do that. And I was so, I wanted my kids to have something to look forward to every day, because back in during that time, it was a really dark time, right? Like, we were all separated, stuck at home. And so I was like, okay, sure, like, bring more people, because I saw that it made an impact on my daughters. They would look forward to working out versus like, fight me on it. So that was really how it began. Like, I was just doing my thing. People wanted.
How long after that then it became like a class though?
Okay. So, so that was during COVID. Well, that was honestly how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it became a class that way. So so many people just started to come in to join us. And then one of my girlfriends had a really cool garage gym, and she asked if we could take it to her home gym. Um, and, I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Not knowing that it would turn into what it did. So we moved from the track, which we actually got kicked out of it. The police would come and like tell us to leave. And so it was like a hit or miss. Like, are we going to be able to do it today? Because we don't know if they're going to like come and chase us off of the track. But so when she told that, or she asked if we could take it to her home garage gym, I thought, okay, that would be better. We won't get kicked out of there. So that's what we did. And again, like, it just grew, like, from one person to another. And we had majority of the people that we had showing up regularly were, moms, of course, and their kids, like my kids age, and they're like high school kids. And to me, that was so exciting, like, to have us all bonding and, being there for each other. And at that time, I still did not think about turning this into a career. I was just thinking, like, this is going to get us through what we're going through right now. I had a full time job at that time. Um, and I was doing this after hours. And then from there, I had someone reach out to me on Instagram. His name is Max. I know that he'll probably say, "Hey, don't forget about me." But he offered me some gym space. He said I met with him, and he told me that he really liked what I was doing and he wanted to offer some support. and I'm always like side eyeing everything. So it took me a while to agree to this actual great opportunity. And when I did, we then took it into a gym, and then once we separated, like, once I was like, I had come to a time or a place where I had to finally make a decision, like if I was gonna move forward with coaching or if I was going to just like kind of let it go. Because at that time it was more like just a hobby, I guess you could say. And I had built a community, like a pretty solid community, and they were looking to me like, hey, um, don't leave us. And I felt responsible for that. So I did. I decided, okay, I'm gonna put, you know, one foot out there to see how this goes. And I found a new gym space that was going to be my responsibility to cover, like the monthly rent, my training insurance. Um, I started working on my certification, and then I turned it into like a side business at that time. And it was really scary for me and really hard because I mean, a really hard decision because I knew that that was going to be a lot more responsibility on me. And before all of that, it was kind of just like for fun, but this was now something that I was going to have to really put focus and energy in making successful. So yeah, that's kind of how it started.
So, so before we continue, I guess on the balance of like having whether it's part-time job or part-time business, balancing out. I do want to go back a little bit to, on your own personal, because you go from like doing it for yourself and now you're doing it for people.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't imagine that the whole time it was like smooth. Like now
No.
I reached my goal. Now I'm a freaking coach. No, like, but was there any time where you just like whether it was for a day, a week, 2 weeks, did you gain a little weight back? Was there any hiccups, anything in your life challenging you that you were maybe finding more harder to continue? Like you got some results, and again, I don't know if that's the case that would happen. I'm just like from my own experience and stuff like that. Before the coaching and stuff, was there anything that challenged you to think that maybe I'm just whatever I had lost or whatever I had gained as far as fitness, I'm kind of like losing it a little bit, or I guess what kept you going if there was any hard times basically what motivated you to keep going? Was it the fact that there was already some people kind of like looking after you to help them with their training, or was I mean that might be still the same motivation? What keeps you going? I guess that's the question.
Okay, so like, what challenges did I face?
Yeah, so when you start off and you lose some weight, for example, and maybe you I don't know you go to a sparring race and whatever and you did some results, but many people most people don't just hit a cruise control and forever. Now you could get up early every morning and you're fine. You could just go and train for everything, and there's no challenge. And even mentally, motivational wise, like, did you have anything like that, or you just like once you got motivated enough to make a change? Because some is obviously discipline and motivation are kind of going hand in hand, but for the most part, we all agree that motivation is like just a feeling, right? And discipline is what keeps you going. But you have any moments like that, like where you were not as motivated, or where maybe you thought like, it's just too much to balance like mom life, work to keep training? I guess that's the question.
For me personally, I know, like, because I fell in love with fitness. Like, I fell in love with what it was doing to not only me physically, but me mentally. Um, Being when from the very beginning, like just going back to the very beginning, not only was I like, overweight, and um, I was unhealthy, honestly, at that time. Mentally, I was in a dark place. I was very sad, and I was coming out of that. And the more that I did, the more that I accomplished, the more milestones that I reached, the more confidence I was getting in myself. And I didn't, that's honestly, till this day, that's what I work for, is to prove things to myself, because that's what builds my confidence. And I don't ever want to lose that. So I I just never wanted to get I never allowed myself to get too far away from that. So yeah, even during like the challenging times of multitasking, us, a full-time job, two daughters, and now this second business with training clients, and and it's not just training, it's coaching and supporting people that are going through this life-changing journey. I was always trying to find any little time that I had, I was using it, to serve myself as well. So even if it was like running to the gym to get in some type of workout, or just a half hour, I would make the most out of it. So I was just doing what I could with the time that I had available to me. And yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, so not, I mean, not everybody has that, like, a lot of um, completely falling off. It sounds like you pretty much, like, is normally to, maybe you're not gonna be at number 10, high gear, but you always never let yourself get to five. So,
Yes.
and that's what got you to, like, coaching, right? But now that, like, turning it back, I mean, not everybody's gonna be like you. And then when I said, I don't want to say like I want to interview the average person, because, like, I don't think she's average at all. Like, and I don't know. I don't think average is a bad thing, but I think most people will know what I'm saying is that um, it's not that common. Most people, in my own personal experience, even with my races, with my events, everything that I done, I mean, you find more of people that are willing to just give up pretty much right away. So to find people that are like, once they found this this love for fitness, this love for feeling good, looking good, like, most people that I know, quite a few of them, that they've been on the grind for a long time, but not everyone. So I guess I can say with your clients, no one in particular, but what we said is the number one challenge or obstacle. Would you say is like themselves? I guess that's in general. You could say that, you can stop yourself from achieving certain levels. Like, your biggest obstacle is yourself, right? But is there anything in particular with, like, training with multiple clients now, like for years, that you will say is the most challenging thing for people? Was it time? Is it money? Or is it just basically pure desire to make a change, or something along those lines? That's my
Like,
point.
what's the challenge in keeping
Well,
them
what do you
like
hear the
showing up?
most? What do you hear the most? Like, you hear clients like, oh, they come into you motivated, they get some results, and then some fall off. What would
So
you say is the number one, like, most common?
So just going back also to like my coaching journey, because I know that that's a whole nother story. Now I'm in a place where I coach full time and I do personal training, which is like really intimate one-on-one training. I do a large group training. So in that large group, there's 30 plus individuals that are regularly showing up. And then I do some online coaching, and so, with all of that, I have worked over the past 5 years, I've worked with so many people. And um, coming from like also having a customer service job for 15 years, I definitely believe that that has played an effect in my business now, and basically my interactions with people. So, what I commonly hear is, commonly people are excited to begin, and they have like so many goals for themselves. And then I think sometimes like they're goals that are not realistic, to what not realistic, like they can achieve those goals, but they're not really understanding what they're going to
What
need
it
to
takes?
do to get there. So I do my best as a coach from the very beginning to let people know the true story. Like, you can have everything that you want, but are you really willing to give this, and this? Because that's what it's going to take. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fast. It's going to take sacrifice. And are you up for that? And so most people they are, but there are those people that they're maybe they're just not there yet. And I think of a big thing that, or a huge important factor, is your why. Like, why are you wanting to make these changes? And I always attempt to ask that, so that way I can remember it and they're saying it out loud so they won't forget it. And I recommend that people write this down, because when it gets tough, they remember why they started. And it's like, one of the most common things that I hear, especially from women, is that they don't like what they see in the mirror. They don't like to look at themselves, and it's very sad, right? Like, it breaks my heart to hear that, but it's a real thing. And they want to feel better about themselves, right? Like, they don't want to feel like that anymore. And the only way to not feel like that is to take control of your life, right? Whatever is causing you to not be there right now has control over you. So, trying to help people to understand, we can do this. You can take control of your life, but it's not going to be easy. So that's commonly, I think, what people struggle with, is the time that it takes. That you didn't get there overnight, so it's not going to happen overnight, but I promise you it's going to happen. You just have to stick through it. And if more people were patient, then more people would have results. But patience is a virtue, and it's a struggle for almost everybody. And that's what people's biggest challenge is the patience, that it takes to see what consistency can really do.
Yeah, so I think what I got from that too is like it's just remembering your why you even started, because you tend to forget, and it has happened. I know it has happened to me that many times you lose track on becoming like you're out there by yourself. Um, basically, however is your story, whether it was like watching some videos, being at the track, or like myself being in the by the beach on those cliffs by myself, to then fast forward and now you're in these events with a bunch of people, and sometimes you do forget what did you even started. But I think if you're wise enough, like I mean, for me, it's always been my case to show them that you can do hard things and finish them, and that's why I think I always push myself to finish everything that I did. But I guess that's probably like the one thing that many companies and products sell is easy, fast. And I learn, you want to learn a lot from different people. And I know I learn a lot from Victoria. And with that said, I know that another common thing of a lot of my friends is that, the whole balance with like, I know there's a lot of you out there who have dreams of like having your own thing. And I get questions a lot of times about, I want to start my own race. And then same thing, I have so many people, I have provided contacts or where to get your medals, what kind of permits you need. And most of them never have started anything because they realize like shit, it's actually a lot. Like it's a lot of work. So, and that's just to start like your own business type of deal. And then that's another whole different story of like the challenge that comes with it. But I know you share a little bit about everything. So how about that? Like, how did you went from, you know, how many years did you spend at the company that you came from? And again, I share a lot of personal stuff. Victoria's a little more private, so she can, however she wants to share it, or as much as she wants to share. You know, how long were you in that career? And then basically what prompted you to decide to take a chance on yourself and say, you know what, I like what I'm doing, or I have a passion for what I'm doing, helping others. Now my time needs to be served fully on this. And again, that's still, I'm sure it's a challenge every day, but like how long were you in that? And what was the main thing and why you decided to like, it was the time?
So I worked at the company that I left, for 15 years, and I loved my job. I enjoyed it. It's a great company, and like, I was very well taken care of there. And like I said, once I started to get into coaching and take it more serious, it just grew on its own. Like, I feel like it was just happening, like, on its own. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with coaching. I fell in love with the community that I had began to create, or that was being created. And I started to take on more and more. So I started with, doing my job 8 to 5, doing my class 6, 7 o'clock. And then as I got, like, I would say 3 years later, I started to consider adding personal training into that because I would get so many requests for that. And I thought that's where I can really make a change, is being, working with someone one on one. And so I asked my job if I could take a reduced schedule, so that way I could add that into my, I could start doing some personal training. And they allowed it. They were kind enough to allow it. And I did that for some time. So my days were long. I would do personal training in the morning, go to my corporate job, go do personal training in the afternoon, and then do my class at night. And I did that for a while, for a couple years. And you know, I I started to feel like the job that I loved so much, my corporate job, was becoming something that was no longer serving me. Like, I just felt like I couldn't wait for the day to be over. And I I just I could feel myself starting to fall away from it. And if you don't make a change, like I tell Victor, the change will be made for you. And I was given an ultimatum by my company, and I I can remember it like it was yesterday. In that meeting that I had, um, I I knew that this was an opportunity to be faithful, and that I had to listen to my heart, even though I was going to be walking away from security. And so I did. I decided to part ways with the company. And I went all in on coaching. And I knew what I had to do. I knew that this was the leap of faith that I needed to take, even though I was scared. I just did it. Like, I just took the leap. And it's been about a year, over a little over a year now, that I have been a full-time coach. And it has been a whole new experience, but I've been able to serve a lot more people. And that's where I'm at now, is kind of not, I guess I could say, removing things that are not serving me so that I can do more things that are more purposeful. So that's where I'm at right now. This is the only thing that I do, is coach and support people.
It's your calling. Um, Again, when I decided I've been wanting to do this, but like super formal, like an actual podcast studio. But it's just like Victoria says, like, when you're doing things, and to this day, full time claims examiner, doing my company. I'm the CEO. I'm the crew, the maintenance crew. I'm like the apparel manager. I'm everything. So when you're doing everything, it's just and big shout out to a couple of people, Chris, Rocky, different people that like over the last couple of races, and of course my usual friends that are always by me, Junior, Miriam, everyone. But I think definitely like we do learn from each other, and from other people. Like, but it's like you can't do it all by yourself, and then you're just gonna be in that little rat race if you continue to do that. So taking the opportunity of what I asked her, I know there's a lot of you out there that are facing those challenges, that you're on the crossroad. Where I go? Do I continue to collect a paycheck, or do I just go fully on and do what is in me? And again, that comes with responsibilities, because it's not just yourself. You're not living, well, not everyone, but you're not living out of your car and that's it. You just have to put gas. There's things that comes with it, as a family man or woman. But I think, as I hear talk, it's a good reflection for myself, for some of you out there, to analyze what is it that we're doing and what is our purpose. I know for a fact, for myself, I think we can relate that like the the ways of whether it's training or an event, it doesn't matter, but the mission is the same: is to change people's life, because that's what fitness does. For at least that's what we fell in love with. It changed our lives, and as we continue to do this, it is changing other people's lives. So, um, again,
Well, one thing I want to say about like taking that leap of faith is like I tell people this all day, right? Like I tell people like listen to your heart, like your what what is in your heart is there for a reason. You know, if it wasn't there, like God has put it there for a reason. And also um my kids, going back to also my kids, you know, they're them watching me throughout my journey, like I feel responsible to them and to others to live my life the way I tell others that they should. So it was like I felt like this was my opportunity to live in my truth, even though it was very scary, and it is very scary. I'm still figuring it out as I go, but I'll never know. Like I'll always be able to find a job, right? But I'll never ever get this back to be able to um do what I love to do. And it comes with its reward and its sacrifices, right? Like I don't have a paycheck that I can count on every 2 weeks or, you know, every week, but I have the ability to be in the environment that I want to be around the people that I choose to be around, remove myself from situations or environments that I just don't feel comfortable and I don't feel are serving me. So I feel like that's so much that is so much worth in just that, and just being able to control your life versus somebody, you know, dictating it for you.
yeah, and this is totally off topic, but if you see me moving around, it's 'cause I'm freaking sore as hell. I took her class the last 2 days, and definitely I will say if you're around here, come train with her if you want a challenge. But it's a reminder, no matter how bad as you think you've been and you've done, I mean, if you don't do certain things, it is challenging. So it's off topic, but I'm been moving like this whole time because my ass is like hers to go sit on the freaking toilet. But my fault for for not doing. She always tells me, but so we got to do more than just running. She's a great example of like when it comes to her fitness. What was the I think we'll wrap it up because I think we have to go to dinner with Areli. So, but what they wanted to ask, so people get, and again before I go farther, where can people find your stuff like social media wise, mainly on Instagram right now?
Mhm.
What's your handle?
It's at underscore live. No, I'm sorry, at live underscore victoriously.
And then we'll tag her pages on the once we save the video. But you can learn more about it because I know I mean that's a whole different topic on her own fitness. Like, but in a nutshell, um, what was the very first thing you did? Um, and then I'll ask you the next thing. But what was the first organized where you got some sort of medal? What was the first thing you did? A 5K, 10K, half marathon? What was the first thing you did once you started your fitness journey?
Oh, okay. Well, like I was just going to the gym, right? Doing that gym thing and boot camps and all of that stuff, spin class. And then I wanted to do a Spartan race. And I think I did it back in 2018. Uh, and nobody wanted to do it with me. So I went by myself. Like I went to the Monterey, do the Monterey.
Super.
No, I did the sprint.
Okay.
Um, I literally showed up that morning, did it, and drove home all by myself. And my daughters were with me, and I remember them like following me along the trail. And I saw them at the end, and I started crying because to me that was something that I had wanted to do, and I did it. Like even though I was scared shitless, I did it, and I was going through a lot at that time personally as well. Um, and that's the first thing that I did. And
Well, that's pretty cool to do a
Yeah.
Spartan race as your first thing.
Yeah.
I
And I didn't, and I'm a type of person too that I don't like to know too much about what I'm getting into, so I did not know what to expect. Like, I was, like, determined
You
not to look
found out.
online and not to get, like, I didn't train for it in a particular way because I was just like, "I'm just gonna show up and I'm just gonna get it done," and I'm glad that I did it that way because I didn't know what to expect and I just kinda, like, figured it out.
So from there on, after that, I know that you went and did a ton. Before I even met you, you did a bunch of decas. If you're familiar with
Oh, yeah.
deca, functional fitness, hybrid space, then High Rocks, I got to share. We actually went to together to. I went to see her when early on when I met her. I went to see her in Anaheim to do. I think you did with the team. You did some sort of relay,
No.
wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, you guys did.
No.
Oh, you just supported them, but you did the
Yes.
pro. Okay, she did the women's pro, and then eventually we did go to Dallas together, we did. She did the pro women's division, which basically she was doing the same way as I was doing, but and I think her time was still faster than mine. But she went and did that, and then I'd seen her compete also at a Spartan race, and she did really well, and now she actually ended up doing my 50K, which is I tell her that our 50K is probably comparable to most 50 milers. So now what's your next race basically? So if you
So
want to follow her
so
journey,
just going back, like, so I did the Spartan race, and then I started to do, like, a couple years ago, I started to do, like I did a 5K, and then I did in the same year I did a 10K. I ended that year with a half marathon, and to me those were like huge things. They still are. They're huge milestones. And then I got into, like, functional fitness competitions, and I did really well. Like, and I was telling Victor this earlier that I loved all of, like, fitness so much that when I started, I just knew that I was gonna have a good time doing it. So I think that's why I did well because I was having fun. I was like, this is
uh,
cool. Whereas most people might be scared of those things, I like loved it. So I did a whole bunch of decas, got into high rocks. I think I've done 5 high rocks events, and then this year someone called it my running era, or my running girl era. I signed up to do the 50K, and definitely one of the hardest things I've ever done. And now I'll be doing a 50 miler
and so borrego.
in 2 weeks, which uh, has been definitely one of the things that I would say makes me a little nervous and haven't felt that in some time.
And I'm being dragged as sacrificial lamb. I'm gonna
No.
do it too. Nah, I did it actually before, but just so I was laughing right now because I wanted to check something real quick. What about if this thing has not been recording this whole time? Okay, no, it's recording. Okay, shit. I was like thinking, what if this whole time we've just been talking to ourselves? Now it's been working. So we're gonna wrap it up, but yeah. So I totally even forgot asking her like, again, one thing is
We're gonna need to
no, hold on.
improve on your interview
Nah,
skills.
this is real, man. It's not a fucking scripted cut. Um, no, well, I was gonna say, asking you about what you did with it. I totally forgot. She freaking did my 12-hour recon,
Oh
and she
yeah.
also did. Oh yeah, and like that shit, I know for a fact was hard. And so with other events, like endurance events, they do have a lot of challenges. There could be a lot of hiking. There's some running involved. You're carrying heavy weight. But for some people, they always are terrified by the cold. And I know she hates the cold. And one of the things that they we did at the event, and we could describe just a little bit, I guess. What was your expectations? What was the hardest thing when you did the Gilroy 12-hour recon before we even were a thing or anything? You just showed up like a participant. You were
I was just a
just a
participant.
participant. You did the event. How was that? Coming from your whole fitness journey now to doing something that some people will be like, and somehow like she got her brother. I don't think she actually doesn't get
No.
anyone to do anything. Her brother, Victoria's sister-in-law, she also did it, and a bunch of people have done my events now. But for that particular recon, what was the most challenging part? I guess I will ask.
Okay. So for the recon.
Yeah, and
My
Gilbert.
expectation was I didn't have one because, like I said, I don't like to like know too much. I like to just experience things as they come, and so I really didn't have. I didn't. So I didn't have any expectations, and what I experienced was a whole lot of randomness and uncomfortableness. Like, of course, it was cold. We were wet. We were walking around like barefoot. Like, we were rolling in the
At a park.
wet grass. Um, we got I remember we couldn't even really like eat or anything for like long periods of time and like
And it started at 7 p.m. and at 7 a.m. So you
yeah,
have to have the sleep deprivation.
there was like there was just like a lot of things that made you like confused, a little bit like frustrated, um and kind of nervous, like we had to do some things that just seemed like, "Oh, I don't know, about this, but I'm going to do it." And
I think you got to do a bear crawl on a sewer.
yeah, like
I think
that.
it was
That's
raining.
exactly what I was
I think it
thinking
was
about.
raining, and there was like, I mean, none of the stuff is planning rain. So then you got all the. It's probably dirty water. I mean, I know it's dirty water, but anyways, I don't know what happened. They kept messing up, and I was the one. And then at that time, well, I mean, I was not gonna do anything different, no matter who's at the event. And at that time, we weren't together or nothing. But it just happened to be that she was one punished for somebody else's fuck up,
Yeah.
and she ends up bear crawling. And I'm pretty sure at that point she thought it was bullshit because she's bear crawling and this like this low what do we call it, tunnel of love, and you're bear crawling, but you're on the edge of that road. So there's basically all that crap from the city, and you're bear crawling through that. So there's a lot of that, but like the thing with the events is it's not random. All the stuff is kind of like I share with her a little bit of like because it's very different what she does.
It seems random to a participant, but now having been a coach in a recon, it's not. It's definitely all pre-planned. But yeah, it's a part of the, I guess, experience too for the participants to just not know what to expect, to be willing to just do anything, and to like what I always say, it's an endurance event too. So to endure.
Yeah, and the thing about it too, even with our trail races, even the name. So if you hear Machete Trail Madness, I think it's funny because I think when the very first time when she must have told her daughters about me or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, they probably thought you're meeting with some guy like Machete, like yeah, it doesn't sound like that inviting, but again, if you hear the name is Machete Madness, madness is what's the definition of madness? Is craziness, right? So when it comes to that, you should expect that the events are gonna be kind of tough, and then when it comes to like that type of stuff that we have people do, everything it is uncomfortable because we did find through endurance events that um, the physical part, I think, is part of the easiest part, but mentally, you quit mentally. And actually, the opposite of that. If you don't quit mentally, your body's just gonna have to obey. You're gonna have to keep doing things. So when people say, "Oh, I don't like that cold," well, no shit. Who likes the cold? If cold sucks. Who likes the extreme heat? Nobody likes any of those things. But it's always like things that pushes you. But it does have everything does have a purpose. It's truly like there's a reason to the madness, and in that event that she did,
Hmm.
that's exactly what it is. Sometimes you have one coach telling you to do some shit, then here comes somebody else, and then I'm sitting over here, and they're like, "Hey, they told me to do this. They told me to do that." Part of that we let it be that way because it's kind of like it's like control chaos. Like nothing's out of control. I know what the hell's going on and everything, but I kind of turn around and I laugh about it because it's like I did that crap myself. I done far and worse than that, but that's kind of like um, that's how crazy people meet, and that's how I met her. But
What I think, or what I say when it comes to
oh,
these events is like when if you're questioning if it's for you or not, is it's an opportunity to see who you are under pressure, under uncomfortable circumstances, because you can say or think that you are all these things, but this is an opportunity to really see what you're made of, and are you gonna fall apart, or are you gonna thrive through it? So I think that if you are looking for that, that's an event that you would want to experience.
So hopefully you guys get something out of this. I think when we're talking about the things that we do with her coaching, whether it's personal training, classes, or for myself, my trail races, even running your social media, man, it's a lot of work, honestly. To sit here and edit like this whole podcast, that's just a whole another level. So I've been wanting to do this for so long, but I was like, basically, I didn't even know that there was like a rock band called like, I think it's called Fuck It, Let's Go Live, or what is it called? Something like that, right? There's a rock band. I look it up, but it's like that. It's just like, let's just get in front of the camera. It might not be the most like technical, like and everything, but we will improve on it. What I'm hoping to do, and is we'll have her back on different topics because I do feel like, well, I get to the privilege to learn a lot from her, and so I'm lucky for that. But I always think that there's a lot of people that can provide very useful, not just motivation, but tools and things that they can help you achieve the same thing that she's been achieving and striving for, and that's being the best version of yourself and doing anything that you ever wanted to do. Like if you just heard on the little quick things like Spartan, Deca, High Rocks, Machete Madness, Ultra Marathons, you can fucking do anything you want. Um, you know, and the sky's the limit of what you want to do. So we're gonna end up with that. I want to thank Victoria for sharing some of her journey, and I think a lot of us could probably write a book, and it'll be pretty interesting. But hopefully, you guys got something out of it. Anything you want to end this with? Any message to your faithful community of Fresno and beyond?
I think I just want to emphasize, like, again, following your curiosity and taking those leaps of faith, because those are opportunities, and not putting yourself in a box. So like he said, I've done a lot of different types of things because it all interests me. And there's so much more. So even though I'm doing an ultra race, or I've done a couple and now I'm doing the biggest one in 2 weeks, I'm not just an ultra runner. Like I'm not just gonna end it there. There's gonna be so much more to come. And so keep yourself open. Keep yourself open and experience all of the things that are meant for you.
She signed up for the 100K also next
Oh yeah,
April.
I did do that.
That sucks.
And that's just mainly because I just want to conquer it.
She
Like
wants to find out.
I don't want
She wants to find out.
yeah, I don't want to avoid anything.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you for joining. We're gonna save this and we're gonna create a playlist with the next guest will be Miriam and Junior. Have a good night. Are you sure you want to?